guys are doing the thing where you switch so you can see what hand they're at. I mean, I personally like to see, like, if I could see your things here, that would be cool for me, but...
Hey, Chi, can we switch this really quick for a little while? Yeah, yeah.
Is the audio on the... Do I need to talk into this?
I think there's no one here. Yeah, there's like a delay, so there's... Excuse me? Can we get the IT guys?
What was that?
Can we get the IT? Call the IT guys.
It's not working.
Oh no, this is not working. It's fine.
So then you played, then you moved over to Cash and did like 6 Max 1-2 for a while. You said you played a lot of tables when you were doing that?
Yeah, I played a lot of tables, but I didn't really... Very deep. I started playing when it comes to Cash. I think it was 25 cents, and moved up to there. There was a very long period of time where I was stuck at like for like a year. This is when I was like 19. I was still in college. I didn't play too much. Nearly as much, probably like 15 hours a week.
Where were you for college?
It was in Washington.
Okay.
Where I used to live. And then once after Black Friday, I think I played live for a while. Yeah, that's what I did.
On the West Coast?
I moved to Vegas.
Uh-huh.
And I think like about a year later, I met Doug, and that's when I started. So.
You met Doug playing like in a live game in Vegas?
From a friend of a friend. I met him in Korea. He was just like in town, and like we were supposed to go to dinner, and then I met Doug.
Huh?
We didn't actually hang out that night, but we just happened to be both going to Thailand. But I was on my way out, and he was flying in, and I just happened to miss my flight out, and he convinced me to go to Phuket, which is like this island. And we hung out there for a couple of weeks, and then invited me over to his house over the summer, and that's where I really got to know him. This was like 4 years ago.
Huh?
For about 4 years.
Was it at all related to poker, or you were just on a total vacation in Korea and he also happened to be like, or was there some like a poker event there?
I don't think there was any poker event. It Yeah, it's strange. 'Cause I just did some traveling for about like 6 months with no poker. I think at the time I was just mostly.
So you guys were both in Korea just on random vacations and somehow got introduced and you're like, hey, I play poker. And he's like, yeah, me too. And then, wow, that's a... and now you're two of the top Heads Up No Limit players. But was that back before you had like gotten serious into Heads Up No Limit, I assume?
Also, this was back when Doug wasn't nearly as famous. He was also just like looking up the stakes and but I just like believe I always believed in this guy.
You always believed in him?
Yeah.
WCG, we trust.
So even when he was back then, you know, grinding out the low stakes and you know, you believed that, well, you know, someday this guy's gonna make it to the top.
I actually truly did. He wasn't really playing low stakes when I met him. I think he was mostly like a 10, 20, 25, 50 player. But
So he was already playing high.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think it was just like months before that, like he was playing high.
And was that for Heads Up or was that for?
Heads Up.
So he was already playing Heads Up at pretty high stakes, or at mid to high stakes at that point. And then you chatted with him, and then he probably persuaded you that Heads Up is. So you didn't play Heads Up before that. You had played Six Max before meeting him.
Yeah.
And then you spoke with him, and then you're like, oh, maybe this Heads Up is more fun and more profitable.
Not streaming.
Yeah, this looks like this.
Nothing?
I swear I just heard him. I think he was switched off.
It's on now.
Okay.
Is this? Okay, and this will show up here on that. Uh-huh.
You ever leave the boat had it that same sound as the stream
That's not big.
So it's been on, it just hasn't been showing here.
Yeah. Upstairs is 30 minutes of time.
Alright, just get back.
So you think it's all good? Okay, thank you. What happened? Did you called there?
Yeah. I called for a bit, and I min-led through the streets. That's what happened.
And he put in he raised it looked like pot or so on the river?
It was very small. I think it was
Oh, was it small? I didn't.
half pot. Yeah, 75 actually. 67%.
And yeah, just let me know if I'm distracting with all my questions and stuff. And but no, I'm curious. So this was back in. So when you met Doug in Korea, you were in college and you were playing like 1-2 6 max at that point.
When I met Doug, I was actually just not playing poker. I just like didn't really like it. I didn't like the game I was playing. I was playing live, also something I never really liked in the first place. And I think it just took a long time. I took a lot of time off of poker before trying to get back into it.
Did he have flush there? I didn't see. Yeah. So you had played. So you played 1-2 6 max for a while, and then you got kind of sick of it, and then you played live in Vegas for a while.
I don't think I ever got sick of the 6 max because it was online in front of the computer and very convenient. But I definitely got really tired of playing in the casino. And like after Black Friday, I had a lot of my money on cold tills, and I always played like smaller stakes in the first place. But moved to Las Vegas to play like small stakes live, like 2-5, while I like figured out what I was going to do, like go back to school or poker or to abroad. But I just had like I just had to do something. And after playing in Vegas for like 6 months, I just really hated playing poker, so I ended up doing a lot of traveling.
And you had finished college at that point.
At this point, I think I already taken a lot of time off. And, 2 years in.
So you did part of college and then you took some time off.
I definitely took a lot of time off.
And then at some point after that, I guess you decided to move outside the U.S. to keep playing.
I guess my trip to abroad, one of my main priorities or goals were to open a construction account, but I was really naive to think that it was like a very simple process, and it wasn't. I got a lot of pushback from the sites, or I didn't have all my ducks in order. So I basically failed to do it.
Wait, so you moved somewhere else and the sites just wouldn't let you open an account because you had to like prove your address and prove of all sorts of stuff like that?
Yeah, I didn't really do a lot of research before. I just thought once I'm out there I'd figure it out, or it would be fairly easy or fairly straightforward. The problem was I didn't really have a permanent residence for a very long period of time. While I was traveling in Asia, I never stayed in one place more than like a few weeks. So that was really hard. The game that people work with a lot more to know about, or I would have to like really find like a residence for time up there for more than 3 months. And then after I met Doug, I eventually started just playing on American sites for a while in the U.S. Just went from there.
So you moved abroad to try to play, and just the sites are like, you can't just move there for a few months and play. You need to prove that you're like permanently residing there. So what exactly do they require you to, like a lease agreement that says that like you're?
It really depends. Skrill and PokerStars specifically are the most strict. I believe all the other sites are a bit more lax. Need like a utility bill or some sort of, normally eventually that's kind of a lease or, and everything else after that is kind of depends on like the sites are like a little more lenient. I guess I haven't done any of that for a very long time, but I know it's like kind of a hassle. Lately it's been a lot easier, I believe.
So the main obstacles you're saying are utility bill and the lease.
Yeah, as long as you can, once you like move out there and like have a place to stay for like a few months, or not even a few months, but like if you're living there, eventually you'll like have all paid for that. It just becomes very difficult if you're in a country with that's really not expat friendly for banks. When it comes to banking, and if you're just staying on a friend's couch and then you have like no paper.
So the bank wouldn't let you open an account, and you couldn't prove a lease because you were staying at a friend's place, and then I see.
That's very common. They move out to wherever, and they're actually getting banking out there very difficult, or not getting foreigners. Some countries it's a lot more liberal, like Hong Kong's banking system is very liberal in general. Whereas like I guess due to recent years, I heard Mexico you need a visa in order to open up a bank. On some parts you don't, but for the most part,
So then you went abroad hoping to play, and that was unsuccessful. Although I hope you had a fun vacation.
I did. I did. It was.
And you met Doug. That's right. Yeah. So then you came back and you played on U.S. sites for a while. At that point.
Yeah. At the time, I didn't play very high stakes, so the U.S. sites were fun. More than that.
So still back in 2011, 2012, you were still playing pretty low stakes?
Yeah, I would say so. 2011. 2012, still pretty low. I honestly only really recently started playing higher stakes 2 years ago on a more consistent basis. That wasn't, I was always in and out, like I took a shot and it really didn't work out, so I moved on my main pro. I kind of did that like 4 or 5 times. It was very tedious when it doesn't work out. Sure, I think I got a little unlucky, but ultimately, in hindsight, I was just over my head. I was out of class. I was definitely.
This was for Heads Up, so you'd challenge someone. So you would be playing like 10-20, and you say, okay, I want to move up to 25-50. So you'd challenge someone you thought was a weaker 25-50 player, and then.
Sort of. I actually never really had trouble getting to 5-20, 10-20. What was really hard is breaking to 25-50. That's really where the skill gap really is. And there was a specific opponent out there at the time where I thought was a soft player, but he only played 5100, so I had this like huge stake gap. So every time I lost there, it was a much bigger loss than it should have been.
So you had pretty much been playing 10-20, and you're like, okay, I want to move up, but then a good person to play wants to play 50-100, so that's like a 5x.
Yeah, it was a very big. Yeah.
Did you consider getting, staked for part of that?
Well, actually, I think I went very aggressively at the time, but I did sell like a lot of it, so I sort of made it the price I wanted. You know, someone that I did want to bet high stakes. It's just when you're trying to break through and like you're not quite as good, or you're just not quite there yet, and you're it's like actually hard to talk and play a little bit.
Yeah, just don't tell me if it's if you want to not talk for.
It's just that stake is it's such a hard stake to break through. You kind of have to like get lucky first time.
You're talking about 2550?
Yeah, 'cause, like everyone's pretty good there. Everyone at 2550 is pretty good, and if you just win the first time, I think you like have a lot more leeway of like losing, or you don't have to move down. Just the whole moving down factor really sets you back so much.
And how many tables, when you were doing these stakes for Heads Up, how many tables?
Well,
Was it one table?
no, I generally really don't like the one table. I prefer 3 or 4. 5 is just really too much. 2 is like I'm on the slower side. 1 is very slow.
So did you consider when you were moving up doing something like, okay, I'll do like 2 of the 1020 and 2 of the 2550, or like sort of making it or do you just like to just move up and then like go all out with whatever stake you're doing?
Well, you can't really do that for Heads Up at least, because it's really important to just play one opponent, or it just gets too confusing. It's not like a 6-match game where you like just play poker and everyone has like different scenes. You can really manage to play a lot of tables. The moment you have like 3 opponents up, you have leave anywhere, like to be exploited over and over again, and like playing 2 different players is actually pretty tough. And I would say like I only do that if like it's a much softer play. I would never stand a chance playing like 2 difficult players or 2 tough players.
So when you said that you like to play 3 to 4 tables, that's usually against the same opponent.
Yeah, definitely. I would say 3 is like a very standard number. Most players like to play between 3 and 2. I would say 4 is really rare.
By the way, let me. Do you know why the screen isn't?
Just the Chrome.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, because when I played, mostly sit and goes or whatever, but in a bunch of tables, moving up was, I could do my stake and then I could add in a couple of the ones higher, and then so it's not like you run bad at the higher ones and like that wipes out your roll. It's more gradual.
Yeah, like you just have like an average volume, and that's kind of the safe play.
Although it still hurts if you run bad at your highest buy-in. That can still hurt a lot, but it's good to at least not have it be 100% of your games are now at that highest one.
Well, the difference between that situation and Heads Up was the fact that every time you take a shot and it doesn't work out enough to move down, so like your stakes are possibly lower, the guys who beat up at like, for example, like 5, 10, 10, 20 aren't going to really be there until like they can rebuild past like other players, and generally more tougher players. So moving down and rebuilding a roll Heads Up specifically that's kind of tough. Whereas like Heads Up or in Citagos, I guess Heads Up Citagos not so much. It's kind of similar. But I guess any form of Heads Up variation, you like play other professionals, you won't really have the player who you used to play. Does that make any sense?
So I think you're saying, okay, you say 10-20, you win, you move up to 25-50 and it doesn't go well, and then you want to move back down. You're saying now the people who used to play against you at the 1020, they're either not there or they're not willing to play against you anymore because they knew, oh, he's like a 25-50 guy now, so they're more scared of playing you or something?
Not so much that I'm a 25-50 guy, but more so that they were losing to me.
They were losing to you before, and so now you're going to have a tough time getting players to play you at the 1020.
Another very common thing is like some player that lost to like leads poker or it's just that player pool is never there. So a lot of rinsing and that process where like having a 2-4 to 3-6, moving 5 handles like that they go up. And I believe every straight jump I never did really well initially. I think at every stage jump I really wasn't totally ready for it. Looking back on it, at the time I thought I just got the I got really unlucky, but I just really wasn't ready for it.
Do you mean in terms of bankroll or skill level or both? It sounds like.
Not so much bankroll. I've always been conservative about that, but skill level.
So you were doing well at beating the players you were playing at 1020, but so the reason you don't think you were ready is do you think you could have gotten ready by playing against those same people at 1020 more, or by doing like additional studying beyond just playing more at 1020?
I would. That's really hard to answer, mainly because it's really hard to study your opponent because you've never really played them. You don't really know anything about them. So the only thing you can really do is like study your game. But at the time, I didn't really view or approach poker that way. I didn't really work hard on my game. What I did was just took the 6-match approach where I played a lot of poker. I will eventually make a lot of money, but that really wasn't where the money was at.
That's my excuse for every person. Like, well, I don't have
You said the money wasn't. I missed that. Sorry, you said in 6-max wasn't.
Very common that like more hands you play, as long as you're a winner, you're like kind of like there are 2 ways to win money playing poker. One, have a great win rate and play like some hands, and there's another one that you can have a very small win rate and play millions of hands. And I approached poker with a million of hands, which wasn't like that would never get me to high stakes. It would probably make me whatever stakes I was playing. The moment I kept getting beat at 25 over, which happened many times, I decided to take it a little more seriously. There was a point where I went on a really big downswing. Tried to push on higher stakes, and for some reason, the stakes I was playing, mainly because people, again, like my player pool wasn't there. The only guys at 1020 that was playing were tough 25-50 guys that were willing to play lower. And 1020 online, it's kind of a no man's land. There are a lot of like 5-10 regulars, and these big 10 regulars, there's like a huge skill gap. But at 1020, only regulars are generally like the 5-10 players that will play some 1020 or softer players, or the 25-50 players that are much tougher, probably like will be achieved at the 1020 level. And that was kind of the only player pool there. So breaking into 2050 really feels like going from like 715 to 2550.
What was that, from 715 to 2550?
Yeah, because if you were a 1020 rig.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
2.5 times steak jump, which is already like big in the
Yeah.
But 1020 is a steak that's really hard to get access in the first place. And I've always acknowledged that to like a lot of 5 and 1020 players. It really is a tough steak to get into. Because I would say I tried the very first time I played 25-15. It took me like almost 2 years to finally get it.
Drove over here, I'm like,
I mean, there was a period of time where like I was becoming more and more regular, but I was much more selective about the players I chose. I was much more game selecting a little bit more the tournaments I played.
Yeah, I was gonna ask like what you meant by like, you know, breaking into a stake, because you could always sit a lobby at 25-50 and then sit out if whoever sits. So
I was more referencing like that being like your normal stake, where you're paying for on your skill level, like you know, kind of have like tiers among those stakes, you probably have similar bankos or similar skill sets or skill levels, I guess.
and then so I take it you finally started beating the 25-50. What was that? You said just like 2 years ago or so?
Yes. Started being much more consistently. You only really feel like you made it when like there are 25 players that want to play.
It's a limp re-race. I wonder what his limp re-race range is.
Whatever.
all the crazy, but I guess you got a flash big level. You got to get away from that one to get it. I get over there and start going at that, nobody's going.
And I forget. So you're currently live somewhere outside the U.S. and obviously and are playing on, you know, Poker Stars.
I was thinking of paying rent and like traveling at the same time. So I don't spend a lot of time out of the country. So I decided to move out of my place, Stockholm, to Seattle, and just kind of left some stuff. My next stops are Vegas for a month. But then I plan to go back home to Seattle. It's just too rough, like living up in the
So you've been. I missed a little of that, but so basically you've been living a lot in hotels around Seattle, or?
Well, not when I'm home, but since December, I was in Seattle and Vancouver, and then Hawaii for a few days. Thailand for a month. That was like so I just knew I had to stay here.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I'd like to. I pretty much my vacations for the last few years have been wherever there's an academic conference, which sometimes is a cool location, actually. But
I'm kind of in a similar boat as you. Whenever I travel, my primary goal, or at least not a goal, but a primary objective or secondary is always involved poker. I think like sometime next year I would like to go somewhere.
No, I do really be complaining. I
rarely do that.
so most of the travels you mentioned in the last half year or so were related to poker?
Yeah.
Like there was an event in various places.
Or, for example, we went to Thailand. I used to live there, but yeah, it wasn't for an event. It's just the idea of like being outside the U.S. And as long as I can play, I'm happy.
So you got official residence in one place, I guess, and then and then you can just travel once you've proven you have residence in Canada or whatever. I don't know which country you moved to for that, but then you can travel around and still play on those sites. I mean, I still play on US. I mean, on US sites. I haven't played on PokerStars since 2011. But yeah, I'm not totally sure what my plans are after graduation, but I definitely want to have at least some sort of real vacation, an actual vacation, not for a conference, not for, just for fun. And I haven't even really thought about where or what or anything. The idea of a real vacation is just so foreign to me right now. But well, I just haven't even had time. I've been so busy with finishing the thesis and this competition and stuff. I haven't even just like, I mean, places in mind, but I'm basically, I'm graduating in a couple weeks, and then basically I'm just gonna have a decompressing period and then think about things then. So, but yeah. Cool. Well, it's cool to hear your story, and from, going from grinding from the low stakes and traveling all over, and now playing the, being one of the top heads up players. And I take it you're planning on continuing for a while to play Heads Up No Limit.
Yeah, I'm trying to call it. I do have to find like other games that are.
Is he on base?
I'm not sure. You play Heads Up No Limit, and I was on that.
Yeah, some people have mentioned earlier that there's not quite as much of a player pool for that as there was a few years ago, so that more people are needing to branch out to learn some other games too. Cool. Well, I'll stop distracting you for a little bit. I'll go bother Jason, but good luck in the rest of the session. See ya.
Check. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Test, test. Okay, yeah, that's working. Weird. All right, thank you. Yeah. Works for me. Perhaps I need to stop being a bitch.
Man, I keep calling its bluff or raises somewhere, and it's never bluffing me.
Really? Like on the river?
Yeah, I've like called it so many times.
No money in bots. They're all solid. god. That's so lame. Changing up the hotkeys a little.
Yeah. Something a bit smaller. 1.25x.
Jason, you mind if I
Let's go for it.
ask you some things? Well, just let me know if it's distracting or if you're in a big hand or
Okay.
anything like that. And would you guys mind doing the switch so I can see your hands up
Oh yeah,
here
yeah.
too?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, quad balls.
Uh-oh.
Oh well.
What was that? You bet twice pot there?
Yeah, 2x pop there.
I didn't see what the action was before, but
He
it
checked
was a
his-
good fold by.
Yeah, it was definitely a good fold.
You were saying he checked.
He check raised me in the flop, and he check called the turn, and then the river he check folded. I mean, he probably just had a draw, but I could have could have bet too big. Who knows?
How have you noticed his play? Like you commented at some point before you thought on rivers he was playing pretty well. Would you say has that view changed at all since when we last spoke?
No, I don't think so. It seems like you have changed things a little bit on the river. There's no more of like the huge jams all the time. But yeah, I still think it's playing pretty well on the river. You know, like you can't ever over bluff it. It knows what to call, and it's like that, and it throws bluffs in there too. So yeah, I think it plays the river well.
Would you say there's like any one street in particular that it's playing worse than others?
I'm not really sure.
It's more just about how its ranges throughout the whole hand,
Yeah.
as opposed to just like one street being bad or something.
Right. Yeah. I couldn't really say like
Yeah.
one street's like really bad. or anything
I
like
mean, that would, and it's sort of weird to say something like that too, because like
Right.
it's it's about how sort of balanced you are across everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a couple. So there's a couple questions that people, just general types of questions people mentioned on 2+2, and just
Alright.
a couple things I'm also sort of just interested in more about, like your maybe more personal background with playing poker and everything. Actually, maybe I'll start with my questions. I'm just so you had mentioned that you, I guess even a few years ago, you were playing live, full ring. I guess you were playing like 5-10 live, and at some point you transitioned to where you are now, playing online, heads up no limit at high stakes, and I'm interested just a little more about hearing. That's a pretty big transition in a pretty short amount of time, it sounds like.
Yeah, so the way that pretty much went was, I mean, I'd always played online, like I'll go play live here and there. I played like some home games. I would go play in like LA and Vegas sometimes, but I was generally like always an online player. Then things got tough after Black Friday, and I could only play on like pretty shitty sites. And I tried to make that work for a while. But then I only really played like full-time live for like 3, 4, 5 months, maybe more like 4 months, I think. For that period I was playing live in LA and in Vegas, like all the time. I just like wasn't even playing online anymore. So I mean, it
By
was
all the time, you mean like you'd play like 8
I was there-
8 hours a day, 7 days?
I like was grinding that so hard. I would show up at the casino at like, God, what would it be? Like I would get there maybe at like 3:34 every day, and I would be there till like, if I left at 2 a.m., that would be like a short day. I would say I was averaging like putting in like
That's like 10
10 hours a day.
Wow.
And I just like didn't miss a day. I was just like so serious about trying to make a lot of money and like just grind really hard. But then eventually I just realized like I'm not gonna make like $1 million playing live. So I mean, especially like grinding it up for mid stakes. So I was like, if this is gonna be my career, like I can't just like be grinding to try and make like a little bit of money. I need to like try and make like the most that's possibly out there. So that's when I decided to just pack it up, and I moved to Vancouver, got rid of my place in Orange County, moved to Vancouver, and I just started playing online. I started at like low stakes heads up, and I just like worked really hard. I wasn't afraid about playing good players. I just like the most important thing to me was always putting in volume. And a lot of people, I think it's a lot of people's mistake in heads up is they want to like just play it safe. You know, they want to just be very careful about who they play and all that stuff. But all you're going to do, no one made it up the ranks, like up the stakes doing that. You have to like go for it. And if you get beat down, you learn and then you come back. Like that's what I did. And I was like always very honest about my game, like good about analyzing things and studying and stuff like that. And I was just able to eventually and kind of like how Dong said, like I had trouble breaking through to 2550 for a little bit. Like it's definitely the hardest stake. And then eventually I just blasted off on through there and here I am.
And you said it took a very short period for you to make it from the time you started with the Heads Up No Limit to the time you made it to the higher stakes. Like
well,
you said that was all like in 1 or 2 year period.
Yeah, but I mean like I was putting in like a lot of volume there. Like I was in Vancouver, I didn't know anyone there really. I wasn't like going out and doing anything else. I was basically like most of the time by myself in an apartment just playing. And so I mean when you have all that time on there, like that's a lot more than a lot of people put in. And I think a lot of like the top heads up players like distinguish themselves by like putting a lot of time in. Like there's not a whole lot of like messing around and like spending a lot of time doing other things, which is possibly like to a fault for your own like social life or happiness sometimes. But yeah, I mean I think everyone just works really hard.
Yeah, people talk about in general, like being balanced, like you mentioned. People often advocate that, but I personally hold a view. I guess it's similar to what you are in that I like to sort of go all out with something for a period of time. Like you can still be balanced overall if you go all out with something for a year, and then you can then just have a period where you go all out with doing something else, have a social life for a period. And
yeah, exactly.
So that's more, I definitely understand that mentality. I mean, that's way better than just sort of like being mediocre at poker and having a mediocre social life and, never really being, focusing 100% on it.
A lot of the times what I'll do is like, I'll just take, is this us or?
It could be you. I don't think it's this mic.
A lot of times what I do is like I'll go somewhere to play online for a while, whether it be like Vancouver or I was in Australia or whatever, and I'll just like play there for just like weeks at a time, like I don't know, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and then when I just go all out then, and then I go home, and then like I take it a little bit easy. It's kind of just like a long work week and then a long weekend. That's how I kind of handle it.
I hope I'm not slowing you guys down too much over the other. I heard the other players are a little bit ahead of you.
Oh, really?
I'm not surprised because I've been asking all these questions and they're just clicking away up there probably.
Yeah.
No. So you mentioned that at least to some extent your decision of making the move from playing live to moving to Vancouver was influenced by meeting with Doug, I think you mentioned, or maybe I'm misremembering. I thought you mentioned.
What I had said. Well, it was kind of what was funny. I was like when I was playing in LA. Like I've known Doug for a long time, and like he came to visit at one point, and he was like, "Man, you gotta stop doing this. Like you're not gonna go anywhere playing mid stakes live. Like, I mean, it's not, you could, but like." He's like, I know you're an online player. You just got to go back to playing online. And I was like, he's right. I should just go do that instead. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you can make like good money playing mid stakes live. Like, if you're a good mid stakes live player, like I don't know, you could probably make like 150 to 200K a year, maybe. I mean, more if you're playing higher stakes. It's not. didn't really think those numbers out too hard, but it sounds about right. But I just like I don't want to be like grinding live my whole life. Like I want to make a lot of money now. So only way to do that is trying to get into high stakes however you can.
And when you say mid stakes for live, are you talking about 2.5?
Yeah, well,
as opposed to 5.10?
Yeah, I would say mid stakes is like, well, A lot of casinos now just have 5-5 instead of 2-5, but like 2-5, 5-5, 5-10, I would consider to be mid stakes.
And so games higher than 5-10 run often?
Commerce has like 4 tables of 10-20 like all the time. Not all the time, but a lot of nights there'll be 3-4 tables of 10-20, and this is no limit. They have like 25-50 PLO all the time. Sometimes there's higher no limit, 25-50, 50-100, although that's like a lot more rare.
So when you were playing, what you were saying, mid stakes, that was a combination of 2-5 and 5-10?
Yeah, well, there's not really any 2-5 in LA.
Or 5-5?
Oh, there is, but so I was playing like a 5-5 game, which was like a deep game. It was like 300 to 1K buy-in. And so, I mean, it plays bigger than 5-5. I was playing that in like 5-10, but the 5-10 was usually unlimited buy-in, so that played a little bit higher than 5-10. And so those are the main games I was playing. So I mean, I would probably say like the average stake I was playing, if you consider both those things, is like 5-10 in its traditional form. But yeah, that was like so many hours. Somehow I just had fun doing it. I don't know, like.
I mean, you must have loved it to put in
I don't know,
all
like
that time.
Looking back at it now, like I would, if someone told me right now, was like, hey, do you want to go play like live mid stakes all day every day for like 3 months? I would just be like, fuck no. But somehow during the time, like I just had fun doing it. Like I like the people there, which is also weird to say. Like I was, I don't know, man. Somehow, it just at that time period, it was real fun and cool for me. I mean, I'm still friends with quite a few of the people that I played with there. It was fun. Like I still sometimes I'll go back, like not even to play, just to like hang out and see everyone that used to be my fellow live grinders.
I assume it was a lot of the same players also were going back day after day there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then like the same employees all the time. Like you start to know everyone. There's a lot of funny characters in live poker. There's a lot of like absolutely awful people, but there's a lot of like funny characters in it.
What about the good guys?
There's some good guys, yeah.
It's funny though, it sounds like it's for both of you so totally independently that Doug played a role in your initial sort of getting into the higher stakes heads up no limit. I mean, maybe not as much as I'm making it sound like, but
Doug, I've been friends with Doug for like a real long time. I think I first met Doug in like 2009, maybe 2010. And he was always, he's played heads up for a while, and he was always just like, you should play heads up too. I'm just like, no, 6-packs is fun. I can play tight and it's easy. And he was always kind of like saying I should play heads up, and I always had like some reason why, like, nah, I'm just kind of doing other things right now. Then eventually I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go do it. It was like, it got to the point where it was different when I was like playing in good like home games or playing 6-max I thought was going well. I just like didn't want to get into another game. When you're playing full ring live, it's kind of like it's time to venture into something else.
cool. Yeah, well, interesting to hear about that and how quickly you transitioned to where you are. But I guess it sounds like you went pretty much all out 100% with that for like over a year pretty much.
Yeah,
So-
I did go, I went pretty balls to the walls with that.
Was that where, I forget where some of the other people, like, Doug is also in Canada? Was he in Vancouver? Or was he somewhere else?
When I started, I think he was like kind of done being there that much. Like I started like playing, like he'd come to LA like after he had finished the Sauce Challenge thing. And then after that, he wasn't really spending much time in Vancouver anymore, I don't think.
Cool,
But
yeah, so-
Vancouver is kind of like an easy spot for everyone to go who's like a U.S. resident or U.S. citizen who wants to play online for a little bit. Some people go to other Canadian, people go to either Mexico or Canada is obviously the closest places to go to. And I think like out of those two countries, like Vancouver's the nicest city to go to. It's, I mean, for also if you live in California, Vancouver's like pretty convenient. So I actually think there's a lot of poker players who go there. I know I'm going after this to play the Scoop tournament series on Stars, and that runs for like 2 weeks, and like I could tell there was a lot of poker players doing it because so many places were booked up during those 2 weeks. Like trying to find short-term furnished rentals, like everything was booked up all over the place.
Oh, so you don't have a permanent place in
Right,
Vancouver, so you're trying to get places short term so that.
Yeah, I used to, but now I don't have a lease there at all. I just have a bunch of stuff in a storage locker, and I can take a trip and play when I'm there. So I just had to find like a 2-week furnished rental somewhere, and man, I hate looking for places. It's just the worst.
Do you consider any place sort of a permanent residence
I guess
right now, or are you sort of traveling a lot?
I mean, I definitely
like Dong.
I'm definitely traveling a lot, but I guess like my residence is still in Orange County, California. I mean, I still spend like a lot of time there. That would be like the most like consistent home base. But yeah, I mean, I'm planning to like go to Vancouver, and then I'm going to be in Vegas for the World Series. After that, probably go to Orange County for a little bit, then going off to Barcelona to play the tournaments there. Then got to go somewhere to play WCOOP, probably Vancouver, I don't know yet.
And so when you're in California, I take it you're either not playing poker at all, or playing some live if you feel like it, which is probably not that often.
Yeah, I'll go play like big live games when they happen, which actually was happening like quite a bit before I came here. I was actually happening like almost on a weekly or more basis, which I was pretty happy about. But besides that, like, yeah, I'm not really playing a ton of poker. Oh, I was going around playing some tournaments actually. Like there were some tournaments in LA I was playing, and I went to Vegas to play some tournaments there. So I still get out there a bit. I also spend like time studying still. Like I still watch what's going on, but generally like to have fun as well.
What do you, when you say the big games in like commerce, or
Yeah.
What do you consider to be a big game?
I guess like 50-100, maybe. I mean 25-50 if it has a straddle, then it'd be like 25-50-100. But yeah, generally like 50-100.
And that's a full table?
Yeah, well, it's not always full because there's not so many people who can play that high, and it's not like, you know, online like everyone sees a game and then like they can all sit if they want to, and you just have to be by your computer. Live, like you actually have to get to that casino somehow. And so I mean, I think most people live closer than me. Like when I find out there's a game, like I'm in my car, it takes me like 30-35 minutes to get there. So I'm racing to get there.
Can you sometimes, I think you can like call in and reserve a spot. Can you do that?
They don't always want to do that for you because then everyone could do that, and you end up having a table with all reserved spots.
I see.
So they don't really like to do that always. But
and you find out about these like. You
From
look at there's
friends.
an app or someone says, oh, there's a game starting.
yeah, I have friends who play. There also is this app. Have you heard of it called Bravo?
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to like, you have to kind of like, it doesn't give you alerts as far as I know. You just have to kind of like look at it
So
from
you just
time
have
to
to
time.
refresh it every 5 minutes and
Yeah. But I still have like friends who play live, and they are like there a lot, and they'll give me a heads up if something's going down.
But basically, for the period when you're here, you're not really playing heads up, no limit.
Right.
You're probably studying, I'm sure, but you're not really. I guess you could play their U.S. sites.
Yeah,
you could
I
play
mean,
on
like,
if you wanted to, just
I've
to
messed
stay
around.
sharp or whatever.
Yeah, I've done like some on Bovada, but like the highest that goes is 2-4, and I'm also really always scared about my money, so I don't really end up playing that much.
Yeah, I lost some money on one of the U.S. sites that
Went down, locked.
stopped. Yeah. Although I mean, I've had other than that, I've had good success with the U.S. sites in the last few years, but that one didn't pan out
sucks.
very well.
Lock is real unfortunate. I was only on there for like a brief period of time, and I was lucky to get my money out, I guess. That was like a very brief period of time that I was on.
Yeah, I had more than I would have liked on there because I forget the exact reason. I think I had run pretty well, and just my cash outs hadn't. I forget what it was, whether I put too much on there initially or whether I just had run well and hadn't been able to cash it out. But for whatever reason, I had more on there than I felt comfortable with. And
I know
of course.
I know how it happens. Like you win a lot, and then like it's hard to get money on, so you kind of think like, oh, well, I'm going to use this money to play a little bit higher, and then I'm going to cash it out. But yeah, I know how that happens.
Because every time you if you put money on and there's this fee and it's just like, well, I'll keep like a reasonable amount on.
Exactly.
They've been paying me. They paid, to be fair. I mean, I played on Lock. They were initially part of Merge, and then they, I forget exactly, but I think Lock was part of Merge, and then I'd been playing, for a while on there, and they had been paying me consistently, so I didn't feel like that afraid to have money on there. But I think I played, maybe it was 1-2 years with them paying consistently and stuff, and then so I did feel it's not like it was some totally random site and I was just like,
right.
Okay, I'll throw them on. But other than that, cool. Well, I think the guys upstairs are probably way ahead of you because I've been bombarding you with questions, so I might go check on them and slow them down a little bit.
All right, let's get us even up. We're not that behind schedule right now. We're about on pace. Oh wait, we're about on pace to end.
I got someone notified me that they were way ahead. Could you do that?
We're about on pace to end at 3 p.m. right now. Anyways, Dog, what hand are you at? Up.
Oh, he's.
Dog is on no hand.
They had emailed me about half an hour ago. Doug was pretty far ahead of you.
No shit.
And it's only probably got slower with me talking to you. Maybe I'll go talk to him for a little bit.
Let me catch up. All right.
It's probably just clicking away. So
yeah, okay.
Cool. But I'm sure I'll be back throughout the day. So
sounds good.
Good luck.
Thank you. Well, you don't need. I think you can just knock on the door and he'll let you in. You don't need an escort. Shout out to the 21 viewers. Wish I could do chat on this thing. That'd be cool. Dog. I play this hand where I flatted a 4-bet with 6-7 suited. Flop is Jack 8-4 with my flush draw, so I have a gut shot and a flush draw. I check jam, and he calls with ace queen high.
In a quarter pot?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so I get some equity.
You win half a pot?
I won a little over. I won like 23.5K.
You wanna switch?
Yeah.
I'm super far behind.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do the questions and play at the same time. What? I guess I'll see. What hand number are you at?
300 something? 310?
We're not doing that bad. Had to re-energize over here. Now I'm starting to fly. Dong, your screen's off. Huh? Your screen. My.
Yeah, I tried to call IT guys. Is it just me or is the bot taking longer to tank today?
Do you think so?
I think so. Yeah, sure, but
Ooh, baby, do you know where they are? I should have been led.
yeah, I mean, I can go on. It's usually at least this area is mirroring my browser. No, it's not. I just like. Yeah. Make it another iced coffee.
Alrighty. Did you want me to get you anything?
I'm okay, thank you.
Okay.
is winning. And my bottom hand, whenever I can play them, I am really pushing them. With that razor, yeah, so, but I don't know if that's considered bad for me, but I know the lips now losing. They're not losing. That's yeah. No. Oh, that's one thing, but it's when it blends. Sorry, I have to I don't think it's losing because the bar hands thought that those ones is not losing. It's better than folding. So, considering on those hands are actually better than folding.
Wow.
That's what